Hello everybody that clicked on this video. Thank you for stopping by. Um, if you're stopping by again, I almost can't believe that you came back again. I'm so randomly and random that it's interesting to know that there are people out there who find it interesting enough to come back again. If you're new, yes, I do tend to ramble a lot. I try hard to keep it short and concise, and it still gets rambly. And of course, like I try to mention at the beginning of each video, I cannot edit right now because I do not have a computer. I desperately want one again, but right now all I have is a teeny tiny little laptop that is really old. It's got Windows Vista on it, and I can't use it for stuff like this because it's really slow, really tedious, and I get frustrated and want to throw it out the window. So what I record is what you get. That's why I have to keep trying again, because I end up not liking it after a couple minutes and I delete it and have to start all over again. So this is my 50 millionth try for this day to start this video, because I recorded some videos yesterday and today and decided not to share them. I want to try to keep this within 12 minutes. I'm going to try hard to do that because the other ones were 20 minutes, 20 something minutes each. So thank you for stopping by. The whole point of this video was it's a Q&A video because somebody asked me 3 questions, and in part 1 I answered question 1 and question 2. In this video, I am going to quickly answer question 3 with the short, precise answer, and then I'm going to delve into the expansion that it opened up. The question was, because I mentioned that I'm an author in the very first Q&A video I did, there was the question, are you creative? And I said, yes, I'm an author. And somebody saw that and they asked me a couple of questions to do with writing. And the question I'm answering in this video is, what is the favorite thing that you've written? And the short answer is that I don't have just one favorite thing, because I've been writing since I was a little kid. So I have in binders and on paper, way before I had a computer, I probably have a stack like this of things that I wrote. And then on my computer, I have a folder that is literally named 50 million stories, because there are so many ideas in there that are completely incomplete because they're just a character idea or an interesting plot twist or whatever. There's a lot of stuff in there that's not even started. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff that were kind of started, and I wrote some scenes for it, but that's about all I've got. And then there's like half-written books, and then there's somewhere between, I can't remember, somewhere between 6 and 9 stories that are actual books that have been completed. So I have a lot of little scenes that are favorite scenes for one or another reason. They got me really excited or really happy or really sad or whatever, and I'm just so proud of the way they came out, and it would be a massive chore to try to find them all. So what I actually did for the longer response to what is a favorite thing that you wrote, I actually wrote down a list of things that there was something about it that is a favorite thing, and some of them are really short to explain about, and some of them take a lot longer. And the reason they take a lot longer is why the videos keep getting so long, because it expanded for me. That one simple question of what is a favorite thing you wrote expanded the topic for me in my own head to literally start talking about my stories. And the other videos keep getting really long because I try to explain the reasons why I don't share very often that I write, and why I get so excited when somebody asks me about my stories, because not very many people ask me about my stories. That's the short answer. Why do not very many people ask me about my stories? Probably because a lot of people don't know that I write stories. And that's where the video starts getting long, is explaining why not very many people know that I write. So for now, I'm not even going to... I put it all in videos, and maybe eventually I'll talk more about it if people want to know why. But it is all very much related to the mental health videos and topics that I'd like to talk about someday. And it's kind of hard to explain without getting, almost like I'm talking to a therapist or something. So anyway, it's probably, I don't know, maybe some of you would be interested in knowing more about that kind of thing, but like that's kind of a different video. I want to keep it directly related to my stories because I want to talk about my stories. I don't usually talk about my stories. I'm afraid to for various reasons, and one of them is that I'm afraid of people stealing my ideas. So if you're watching this and you suddenly decide to try to steal one of my story ideas, don't do it. I will find you and I will make you suffer if you try to steal my stories. They're very personal to me. They are mine. Don't take them. Just don't. Please. And yeah, just don't. Anyway, it's getting long again. It's already 5 minutes. So, the whole question of what is the favorite thing you've written opened up a whole new idea for me. And I would like to very much know if you want me to expand on this, because I would easily love to expand on it. I could literally, if you want me to, I could literally start reading some of the things that I've written for you. I could start talking about my characters, that kind of thing. If you want, like, I've been trying to find something that I can talk about on YouTube. That is something I could easily talk about if people are interested. So if you are interested, I will give you a glimpse of what it would look like if I started to do that. And if you like it, then please let me know. Please let me know, and I will do more for you. In my life, I've written stories, I've written poems, I've written song lyrics, I've written all kinds of things. So I could easily share things that are about this long, and I could easily share things that are, a whole book length. And except I wouldn't literally read the whole book to you. But anyway, so just to give you an idea, what is a favorite thing that I've written? Just to give you tiny little glimpses of the type of thing that I write. This list that I wrote down, there are a few different kinds of things that I write. I like to write everyday kind of drama stories, like just stories that are about reality, real people, and living a real life. But like, so some of those, like, I call them young adult books because they aren't for kids. When I write, one of the reasons why I don't share a lot of my stories is because I have to put a big trigger warning on them, because there are certain topics that come up in just about every book that I write. And the whole explanation for why is, like I say, I can't get into that because it takes too long to explain. But I do have to put a trigger warning on a lot of my books because I do talk about things like abuse. I talk about things like self-harm. I talk about things like addiction. I talk about a lot of those things a lot because they are things that are always on my mind. Why people do that kind of thing, how it affects the people that it affects, all that kind of stuff. I kind of mentioned that in my part 1 video, that I've always been interested in those kind of topics and like trying to understand it, try to grasp it, yeah. So it comes out a lot in my stories, which is part of why they're so personal, because some of that stuff I myself have felt, some of it I felt secondhand, some of it I felt third hand. That's as much as I say about that. But my stories, some of them are heavily based on reality. Most of my stories, though, because I personally like fantasy stories best, most of my stories end up having some kind of magic in them because I love stories with magic. And so, first of all, just to give you one of the really quick examples is a book that I named Jinxed, as in Jinxed. Jinxed. That story is the reason why I like that story is it's kind of sort of one of my favorites, is partially just because it's completed. It's a complete story. But it's about, the main character is about this tall, and she has wings and she flies around kind of like, little fairies. But most people can't even see her. She's actually, her and her kind of people are invisible, and like most people can't see them. But she at the beginning of the book, she shows up at this house where there's a family. I can't remember how many kids there are now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 5 kids in the family. Some of them are adults, some of them are still like early teens. But this family needs help, and they don't really want to admit that they need help. But this little girl, her name is not little girl, sorry, she's 19 or something like that. Her name is Jinx. But she shows up here to help them with some of the struggles that they're going through right now. Some of the things they don't want to admit. They are like, it's hidden secrets. But she realizes, her and her family realize that they need help, so she shows up to help them. And so the whole book is about her helping them. And specifically, the whole secret is revolving around the one character named Aspen. He's one of the kids in the family, and the whole secret is revolving around him. And so the whole thing, while she's helping this family, she starts to find out more about herself and her people, the little people, and why they are like that. And she starts finding out secrets that she didn't even know were secrets about her own people. So that's what that story's about. And I really like it just because, partially because it's magic, and just like most things to do with magic, they just make me interested and I want to see more. But I like that one because I like Jinx and I like the little people with wings. And then there's another story that I made that is called Ryan, Ryan, Ryan. And it's called that because this girl, I can't remember her name. That's horrible. I can't remember her name, the main character girl. She is from our regular old world, but then things start happening and she goes to this place, this other world that is called Ryan. That's why the book is called Ryan, is because it's about this other place called Ryan. And in Ryan, she meets this little creature. If you've ever seen the anime called Bush Baby, you know what Murphy looks like? A bush baby. That's what the animal is called. It this creature that she meets is, I pretty sure I was thinking of Murphy when I started making this creature. He's very, very similar. She's very, very similar to that creature, but not quite the same. Obviously, because it's a creature I made up. So that little creature's name is Rhapsody. And the main reason I like Ryan, there's other reasons as well, like her father comes into the story, and there's a few other things that I like about it, but I can't help it. My favorite thing about that story is Rhapsody, because Rhapsody is adorable. She's like this little animal. She's not sentient. She can't speak or anything. She's an animal, but she does have her own way of speaking, which is something the main character figures out later, and she gets to know the creature better. But her name is Rhapsody, and I just love her. She's so cute. I wish she was real. And then an example of something real life that I write, because this video is almost, what did I say, 12 minutes would be as long as it is. Probably going to be 15 minutes now, but because it's almost 12 minutes. But those are just two examples of stories that I've written that are favorites, and that's kind of why. And an example of a real life story that I've written that is a favorite would be one that I called Separate Ways. And it's called 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The funny thing about Separate Ways, the word separate has 8 letters in it, and that is significant to the story. And that is why I decided on the number 8, is because the word separate has 8 letters in it. Just a tidbit of information that way down the road, if I ever manage to publish this book or anything like that, and if you happen to find this video from like years and years and years before I published it, you're like, ooh, really interesting, fun facts that, like, you know, trivia, fun trivia. Separate Ways is about, it's kind of unrealistic, I know, but like, you know, this lady, she was pregnant with 8 babies at the same time, but she got into an accident when she was about 6 months along, I think it was. She got into an accident and she went into a coma when, after only, I think it was 2 or 3 of them were delivered, she went into a coma, and the babies were taken out, and because she was in a coma, they pretty much went into they pretty much went into the system, right? Into orphanages and stuff like that. Some of them got adopted right away. Some of them just went to foster families right away. Some of them went into the orphanages. But there was 8 of them, and at birth, they all got separated. So this book, Separate Ways, is about them finding each other again. Because some of them did find each other before the book. Some of them found each other and got separated again. Some of them, all of them, none of them knew anything about the fact that they had a sibling anywhere in the world until I think the youngest one was 11, the first time that they met. And then they got separated again. And so this whole book is about them finding each other again. But the reason that this book is one of my favorites, I have been writing this book since probably the year 2000. It's been a long, long, long time. I can't remember exactly what year, but the characters in the book were 17. And when I started writing this book, I was about the same age as them. So that's how long it's been since I started writing this book. And that's why it's taking so long now to finish it, because I was almost done. And then I started rehauling it. So like my sister was mad at me because I was just about done it, and I literally started from the beginning again. It's a long book. But the thing is, there are so many strong characters in this book. I could do like an entire video just about this story because it is so big. This story is so big because there's not just the 8 siblings. There's also the people they know, and it like expands. And there's one character in there, she's just the girlfriend of one of the main characters, but she has a short story that I wrote about her entire life before and kind of sort of during the book, because she's a side character in this story, but she has a whole backstory herself. And that is actually one of the favorite things I've written, is her backstory, because I'm the one that wrote it, and yet I read it and I get to the end and I'm crying. I'm proud of myself for that one, because I cry when I read that one. So this video is just about 15 minutes long now, so that is just a little glimpse of what I can do if you want me to. And I really want to make at least one more, because there's a few more of these stories that I really did want to mention, because the question was, what is the favorite thing you've written? And I haven't even, those are just small favorites that I've written. Separate Ways is a big one, big favorite, but I can't go into the whole of why, It's just so big. But there's a few other ones, and I haven't even told you what book it is that I've published yet, because I think I mentioned at the end of part 1, like I said, a lot of my stories I have to put a trigger warning on them because I do write about some very serious topics, and this one in particular, because of who it was that asked me these questions, this book in particular, I want to talk a lot more about it before I name it. So that is what I will give you now. I think I will watch it and see, but I think I finally finished a video that I'm going to upload on YouTube. Finally, part 2 of the thing where I've answered the question as simply as it's possible to answer it, because it's not a simple question to answer. I'm sorry, it's not. There's just too much. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching, and that is just a teeny tiny little bit of the top of the teeny tiny little bit of an iceberg that I was planning on showing you. And if you like it, please tell me. Please let me know what you think of this. Tell me if you want to know more. Tell me if you found that interesting. Tell me if you want to hear anything. Like, I could literally start reading excerpts from my books or my poetry or that kind of thing if you want me to. I could start reading all of that and see, and you could start spreading it if you want to, and maybe that will actually get some notice, and maybe I'll actually be able to publish the other books that I wanted to publish. So I'm really excited, and I'm really hoping that people will be excited with me, because I love to talk about this, but if nobody shows any interest, then I give up and stop talking about it. So I'd love to talk about it more. So please let me know if that was interesting, and if you want to know more. There will be one more video. If you aren't convinced yet, maybe that one will convince you, but there will be one more because I can't help it. But if nobody shows any interest after that, then I won't make any more after that. But there will be at least one more. But here you go. This is this one. I will stop talking now and start recording a different video so that this one can be, it's past 12 minutes. I'm a terrible liar. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Please let me know what you think.